like let's say when you're on a self-healing journey or you're on the path to becoming somebody that you want to become, there are going to be a lot of obstacles. And I'm not just talking about physical obstacles, but I'm also talking about mental obstacles. And a lot of you who are already on this journey, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The mental obstacles are necessary though, because you need to overcome them, because by overcoming them you gain insight, and with insight come wisdom, and with wisdom you start to operate on a different level. And when you operate on a different level internally, you start to change your life indirectly, right? Obviously, if you don't want to change your life, you become more conscious about what you want out of it and start taking direct conscious actions. But as you start to walk the path, there are going to be a lot of different types of obstacles that come around, and a lot of people just are not patient enough with themselves. And when they're not patient enough with themselves, they start to give up on themselves. And that's exactly what I want to talk about today, is that, for example, personally, I have started journey of self-development and self-healing, whatever, 7 to 8 years ago. And back then, I mean, I had all sorts of struggles, like anxiety, social anxiety, and paranoia, and just timidness and shyness and things like that. But eventually, I was taking specific actions to battle each obstacle and each imperfection one by one, little by little. And the ride has been like a roller coaster, right? So there will be like this, and then all of a sudden it goes from this to like this, and then down, upwards, spiraling, and all over the fucking place, right? But eventually, that ride kind of kept going up, if that makes sense, right? So like you're like the lowest point is like here, and here's like where you would feel happy, let's say, or content with yourself, or peaceful. It's like going from here's point to like all the way like this, but slowly but surely goes up. And then it was a pretty interesting road to get to where I am today. I'm still working myself, obviously, because I realized that self-improvement is a lifelong journey. But something I realized along the way is self-improvement has to become self-acceptance as well, because that is one of the only ways to really get to where you want to go. Because without facing your shadow self, you're not going to get to the place where you feel more comfortable with yourself. And the reason it is a lot more the reason it is very important you feel comfortable with yourself is because when you feel comfortable with yourself, you start to pursue things that feel more authentic. And when you start to pursue things that are more authentic to you, you start to feel more fulfilled and like you're moving with a purpose. And that is, in my opinion, the true happiness. It's not the feeling of feeling like psyched and like your dopamine is going off and you're like all excited about life and happy. That is very temporary. You will come across the moments like this even when you could be depressed. But the thing is, I think to truly feel happy, as a man at least, you need to feel fulfilled and purposeful, and that has to come from within. You can't replace inner peace with external things, because external things, they don't have a meaning behind them. You give the meaning to those things. And one person could have a very expensive car or very expensive headphones, but if their mindset is all screwed up, they're not going to be happy with it. While the other person who has found peace within is going to be content with simple things like an orange juice and be very happy about it, right? It's all about perspective. So once you realize that self-development and self-improvement is a lifelong journey, you realize that you have time and you're not in a rush to quote-unquote fix yourself. Like, I understand, trust me, I truly understand that if you feel okay within that, then you will have a more fulfilled life. That's what you think, and that is true. But to get there, you have to start to show more self-compassion to yourself and try to understand why you feel the way you do, why you do the things the way you do, why you do them in the first place, why certain things trigger you. And one way to figure that out, well, first of all, you can become more mindful by doing reflections, like daily reflections, for example, right? So you have to be a retrospective person. Another way you can do it is by reading specific books. I mean, it very much depends on what it is that you want to learn about. Another way to go about learning about yourself, or becoming more self-compassionate with yourself, or helping yourself to develop yourself into the person you want to be, is pursuing specific hobbies that allow you to get there, right? So I don't know, like for example, if you feel weak, you can go to the gym, right? Or you can pick up a martial art, or you can do both. I personally do both and I love it. If you feel dumb or stupid or something like that, you can start reading more books on intelligence, for example, right? Because there are different types of intelligences, and some people are better at one intelligence than others. Some people are a combination, and so on and so on. And that way you can actually learn that you are good at something. And once you learn that you have value in specific category of intelligence, that's when you start to respect yourself more, and that's when you start to realize that you have specific value that you can provide to the world. And when you feel that way, you start to like yourself more, right? So but when you like yourself more, you start to create a healthier self-esteem. And of course, when you create a healthier self-esteem, you start to respect yourself more. And when you start to respect yourself more, everything around you changes. You start to carry yourself differently, you start to pursue different things, you start to have some tough love with yourself, right? You start to become a little bit more disciplined little by little, right? Because bad habits all of a sudden become something that you don't enjoy doing because they make you feel bad. And then when they make you feel bad, you realize those things no longer serve you. However, if you are addicted to something, that's very hard too. But even when you are addicted to something and you keep falling for the same cycle and you keep doing it, you keep relapsing on whatever it is, you have to practice that self-compassion in the moment as well, aka be more patient with yourself. When you're patient with yourself, when you quote unquote fail, you allow yourself to grow, right? You allow yourself to learn from that failure. And no matter how long it takes, it could take 10 times, it could take 100 times, it could take even thousands of times. But it's important that each and every single time you are compassionate with yourself, and you have to take away something from that quote unquote failure, right? I don't like to think of things as failures. I like to think of them as lessons. Although it can be a failure, it's a failure if you don't learn anything from it. But I'll let you figure that one out. So I want to end this video with just reminding you, if you are on this journey of self-improvement, is to be more patient with yourself. I don't know where you are. Maybe you're older than me, maybe you're younger than me, maybe you're in exactly the same stage as me, and you just like, oh wow, like I can relate to what this guy is saying. It doesn't matter, because you can be more patient with yourself at whatever stage you are in, and you can apply it in different ways, whether it's your job, your relationships, your hobbies, your mindset, your finances, your spirituality, and so on and so on and so on.